Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where an officer unlawfully detained and arrested an innocent girl for simply complying with the orders given to her. She followed every command, but got charged anyway. On June 2, 2023, Officer Mitchell with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office was out on patrol duty when she allegedly observed a white SUV going at a high rate of speed in the distance. She was apparently unable to catch up with the SUV because it was going too fast, so she decided not to pursue the driver and instead maintain visual from a distance. Now, this was Officer Mitchell's side of the story, and it sounds rather odd that she confidently found that the driver was speeding, but it was too far away that she couldn't catch up to it, yet still managed to keep an eye on it. Anyway, Officer Mitchell essentially followed the SUV, and the driver entered the neighborhood, coming to a complete stop at their house. This was when Officer Mitchell finally initiated her lights and stepped out of her patrol vehicle to conduct a traffic stop. Let's watch the body cam footage.
White Mercedes, New Jersey title 1000. Hi. You know why I'm stopping you? No. You know what the speed limits are? Because I've been trying to catch up to you since Seminole Boulevard. I don't even know where that. So when you're on Seminole Boulevard, before you get to the triangle, then you go off to Madeira Beach, and then you go around, and then you make your right-hand turn here. When I go over the bridge you're talking about? Before that. So on Seminole Boulevard and 68th Avenue, you're doing 62 and a 45. And then you continued at a high rate of speed over the bridge. The Thomas Stewart Causeway, the drawbridge there.
I use my cruise control over half the time, and I don't even understand right now. Like, if I was speeding, like, why wouldn't have you, like, if I was speeding all the way over there, which I wasn't, like, why wouldn't have you just pulled me over all the way back there?
Because I can't drive recklessly to put other people in danger to put up with you. Can you please have a seat back in your vehicle for me, please? And then may I have your license, insurance, and registration, please?
Alright, I gotta call my dad. I'll talk to you later. No, I don't even understand. I've literally been home. Just stop. I need to call my dad, and then I need to call my lawyer, because this is literally ridiculous.
I can tell you probably 20 minutes. Can I have your registration and insurance, please?
I'm pretty sure my registration is in the house. My dad drives his car.
Okay, then have a seat back in the car so I can handle all of this.
The driver here is a 22-year-old medical student who was rightfully confused as to why she was being detained as part of a traffic stop right in front of her house. She was visibly in a state of disbelief and actually brought up a very valid point. If the speeding infraction occurred way back on a road far from home, why didn't Officer Mitchell pull her over way before? Why did Officer Mitchell have to follow the SUV for so long, then initiate a traffic stop right outside the driver's house? Now, Officer Mitchell's response to this was rather controversial. She claimed that she couldn't drive recklessly and put others in danger just to initiate a traffic stop. But the thing is, we've seen countless encounters where officers waste no time to pursue speeding vehicles and pull them over as soon as possible to ensure public safety. Officer Mitchell's decision to maintain visual contact with the SUV and initiate the traffic stop later raises some concerns and questions about the consistency of her actions. Note that the general rule is that police are allowed to follow you for a reasonable distance to observe your driving and determine if a traffic stop needs to be conducted. As you might imagine, a reasonable distance is interpretive and will vary on the specifics of the situation. But this doesn't justify Officer Mitchell's actions because we can confidently say that she could have pulled the driver over way before, especially considering the fact that they entered a neighborhood where there's not much traffic anyway. This is also an appropriate time to clarify whether the traffic stop was a valid one or not. To answer this, bear in mind that a police officer must point, under the totality of the circumstances, to specific and observable facts that, taken together with rational inferences from those facts, provide a particularized and objective basis for suspecting the particular person stopped of criminal activity. This means that an officer's general suspicion or a mere hunch is not sufficient to justify the stop. But in this case, giving Officer Mitchell the benefit of the doubt, let's assume that the driver was indeed speeding and that this traffic stop was justified. Then the driver was following all orders and even handed Officer Mitchell her license. But this didn't stop her from escalating the situation, as you will now see.
Hey, so this officer just...
Have a seat in the car, please.
I'm on our, can you just look at our, I will, just please, I'm
Okay,
just trying
I've asked you to do that 3 times now because this is a traffic stop.
I'm at my house. I told you to sit in the car.
Sit in the car, please. I've asked you multiple times.
I need a supervisor right now.
Sit in the
I'm
car.
not saying another word from you.
Put your hands behind your back.
He's detaining me right
Put your hands behind your back.
What's going on over there?
Let go of your phone so it doesn't break.
My dad's literally my dad is literally speaking with the DA. Do you want to do this? Do you really want to? Ow!
160th Avenue is ready to leave.
But my guys are fighting now! I'm gonna literally sue this idiot! Call our lawyer right now! Fight now, my god! Ow, you're really hurting fucking arm! Oh, she threw her, Mama, she threw her body camera! She threw her body cam on the ground! Why did you throw your body cam on the ground? You're fine, I've been moving to my house, you're saying I'm no, I swear to God, he's an idiot. Get off my daughter! Oh my God, I've never experienced this in my full life. I've been pulled in my house this entire time. Yo, you pulled your body camera off. Guess what? You should turn it off because you literally pulled your body camera off on top of my...
Ma'am, because you were resisting, it knocked it off. And don't worry, my car camera recorded everything.
Okay, record it. I requested a supervisor a minute ago. Over 10 minutes ago. Tell me your supervisor's name.
Sergeant Tacey.
What is your name and your badge number?
Deputy Mitchell will be on your citation and your arrest report.
Now, there are many important points worth highlighting after what we've just watched. Officer Mitchell initially ordered the driver to sit inside her vehicle so she could carry on with the traffic stop. This may have been quite an illogical thing to do. We already know that officers typically order people out of their vehicles for officer safety reasons. It allows them to make sure the people don't suddenly pull out a weapon from inside the vehicle or even drive off trying to escape. But here we have Officer Mitchell ordering a driver back inside her vehicle for no apparent reason. Despite that, the driver complied. But things escalated when the driver stepped back out of her vehicle, causing Officer Mitchell to jump out of her patrol vehicle, charge at the driver, and use an excessive amount of force to restrain the driver, even going as far as yanking the driver's phone out of her hands down to the concrete driveway. Officer Mitchell's actions were 100% unjustified because all the driver did was simply follow her commands. The driver was told to find her registration, and she found it in the SUV, so she stepped out with the papers to hand them over. Plus, she initially told Officer Mitchell that her father, who was on the phone with her, wanted to say something. So he was on the phone wanting to speak to Officer Mitchell when she decided to go berserk. Speaking of which, if we look at Florida Statute Section 776.05, it stated that officers are justified in the use of any force, one which he or she reasonably believes to be necessary to defend himself or herself or another from bodily harm while making the arrest. 2, when necessarily committed in retaking felons who have escaped, or 3, when necessarily committed in arresting felons fleeing from justice. In this case, Officer Mitchell's use of force does not align with the outlined conditions. The driver, who was compliant and following Officer Mitchell's commands, did not pose an immediate threat or show any signs of aggression that would reasonably warrant the use of excessive force. Pulling the driver's phone forcefully out of her hands and restraining her in an aggressive manner was disproportionate to the situation at hand.
I'm in nursing school.
Oh, then you would have complied, you wouldn't be in this position.
Are you her supervisor? I'm in nursing school. I have 4 months left. I've been pulled into my house. She said I was speeding all the way in something called Seminole Boulevard. I've never seen her car. She did not have her lights on. I've been pulled into my driveway and she pulled in my neighborhood, told me to get out of the car. Got your body camera off. She just put it back on and threw me against my car. How many times? I don't understand. understand what is happening. Like, I don't understand why she had to be so aggressive. I've never had any trouble with the law. Like, what is this?
Ma'am, I've explained it to you multiple times.
You told me I got out of the car to give you my registration.
To have a seat in the car, and you said you wouldn't because you were on your phone.
No, I said I'm about to get in the officer. Your body camera, if it was even on the whole time. Get back in the car 1 second. My dad wants to say something to you. He was on speakerphone, and you threw my phone on the ground and told me you were detaining me, and now I'm arrested. And now you don't have anything to say. Like, I'm literally 22.
Then you should obey the law.
What do you mean? Just because you told me to, I was getting in I got in my car when you told me. I got the stuff. I thought it was in the house. I got my registration and I gave it to you. I got out of the car and I handed you my registration.
I explained to you multiple times. You were given multiple lawful commands, and you did not comply.
In her own words, Officer Mitchell claimed that the driver was given multiple lawful commands but did not comply at all. This was obviously a total lie. The situation was completely opposite to what Officer Mitchell claimed it to be. The driver was certainly confused and asking several questions, but she still did exactly what she was told to do. It's important to understand that the driver's confusion and asking of several questions do not necessarily imply non-compliance. It's obviously natural for people to seek clarification or express confusion when faced with unexpected or unclear circumstances during a police encounter.
Pick me up at the, if you're arresting me for real, like, please, like.
Yeah, your phone will come with you. Yes, ma'am, I am.
Like, I'm getting in trouble, like, I don't know what this even means, like, what is it? I don't know what getting, like, seriously, like, what does arrested mean? Like, what is my arrest? What am I getting arrested for, though? Can you
Obstruction.
Obstruction of what?
Obstruction of the law. I gave you multiple lawful commands. You did not follow them.
Ma'am, I got in the car. My dad, I literally told you my dad is on speaker. I'm about to get in the car.
And then you got out of the car, and I told you to get back in the car, and you wouldn't. So this is why we're where we're at.
Ma'am, literally, please, like, I'm not even trying to, like, lie. Like, you literally told me to get in the car. I got in the car and I found the registration first. If you have a camera on your car, I opened the door and I showed you, I waved it to you.
And I acknowledged you.
And you came over to me and I handed you the paper. And my dad's on the phone and he was trying to say something. Wait, I'm about to get in the car. My dad wants to say something to you. You said,
well, you stay in the car
no, wait.
until your traffic stop is complete, ma'am.
What?
You need to stay in your car until your traffic stop is complete.
I just pulled into my driveway this whole time and then you turned, like, your lights on, like.
Because like I told you, I'm not going to drive reckless like you did in order to cut people off to get up to you. I maintain visual with you. I saw you make your right hand turn. I see you right here. You're still in the car, so I conduct my traffic stop.
I honestly, like, do you understand, for somebody my entire life is going to be over?
At this point, as ridiculous as it sounds, we learn that the driver was officially arrested for obstruction. Just so we understand what this means, obstruction of justice broadly refers to actions by individuals that illegally prevent or influence the outcome of a government proceeding. While the quintessential example of obstruction of justice involves tampering in a judicial proceeding, there are numerous laws on obstruction of justice, covering all branches of government and targeting different kinds of obstruction. And according to Section 843.01 of the Florida statutes, whoever knowingly and willfully resists, obstructs, or opposes any officer in the execution of legal process or in the lawful execution of any legal duty by offering or doing violence to the person of such officer or legally authorized person commits a felony of the third degree. Now the thing is, there was technically no obstruction of a legal process or lawful execution of any legal duty because the driver was clearly compliant and did as she was told to do. Judging by these factors, we can say that this arrest was an unlawful one, and Officer Mitchell was now abusing her authority. But it gets even worse, as they start violating her rights even further.
Officer! I'm begging you! What's happening now?
Your vehicle's being searched.
For what?
The odor of marijuana.
No, like, seriously. Like, I'm serious, like, I'm a good Christian.
Do you have a medical marijuana card?
I was in the process of getting one in New York, but like I haven't like been.
Okay.
My dad has one, and he's the one who usually drives that car, so I really don't even know why you're asking. I don't even know, what does she do with evidence bags? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, that was on. That was in the back seat. So.
Thank you, gentlemen.
As seen in the footage, several officers conducted an interior search of the SUV, digging through everything in an attempt to find something else to charge the driver with. Their claims of an odor of marijuana remained rather suspicious, as it's typically easy for an officer to claim such to be the case, just so they can search a vehicle. But something important to note is that the 20th Judicial Circuit Court of Florida held that the smell of marijuana in connection with a traffic stop cannot constitute the sole basis supporting probable cause for a search. In fact, the state of Maryland recently revised its laws, making it clear that officers can't use marijuana odor as probable cause to search vehicles. However, despite that, since the driver was officially arrested, even though it was unlawful, officers were allowed to search her vehicle. By law, warrantless searches are only allowed when an inventory search must be conducted, a search incident to arrest which allows a search of the immediate vicinity of a driver if the driver is considered to be under arrest, a probable cause search due to the belief that there may be a weapon or other contraband that may have been used in a crime. But as we've discussed, the arrest was completely unjustified, which makes the search unjustified also. This then means that the officer had violated the driver's Fourth Amendment, which states that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
We're here?
The van's gonna come pick you up.
A van, like, are there gonna be like other like criminals in there?
Potentially.
Stop!
Just relax.
How can I relax? I
It's
have 2 months left of nursing school, and now this is gonna be on my record. I won't even if I can continue school, I can't even take the NCLEX. I can never even
For what?
work with
Why
it.
wouldn't you be able to take that?
Because if I have a misdemeanor or anything, they don't let me.
Look, fact of the matter.
You can't be a medical.
I know multiple people who are in the medical field who have felony charges.
Yeah.
All right, well, look it up. I swear to God, look it up online. You won't be able to take the NCLEX, the National Board Nursing Exam, if you have any.
Fact of the matter being,
Look at me right now. This is so.
you're gonna get yourself stirred up.
I am.
I know, but fact of the matter being, these things generally don't go anywhere, and they throw them out. Just relax, get through it. They'll release you in a couple hours, and more likely this will go away. All right.
Ultimately, the driver was put in a police van before being transported down to the station, where she was booked and charged with speeding and obstruction of justice. As we've discussed, this was a bogus arrest that could not be justified, and this was proven in court because the obstruction charge was dropped, as expected. However, her speeding charge of going 15 to 19 miles per hour over the limit was upheld. Be sure to check out our previous video where we cover another outrageous police encounter